Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining us on a Monday to do a great weekend wrap up of sports is Jason Cameron. Hey, buddy, great to see you. Great to hear you. You had a quiet weekend, you were saying.
Yes, I had a quiet weekend. I had to see my physiotherapist because I've suffered an injury from my past in high school. I tore my hip
Mm.
flexor. So on my right side. So sometimes now, as I've gotten older, my hip will give me trouble, which means like it's literally my pelvis is out of alignment.
Wow.
So my physiotherapist has to shift my pelvis back into alignment, which gets my hips back into alignment and all this other cool stuff. But to do that, it is extremely painful.
Jeez.
He's got to do like the release of muscles in my butt, my back. And the way that he does this, Darren, is he digs his elbows real hard into my
Oh.
body. Like really, really, really hard.
Wow.
And he has to grind it in there. He's just grinding his elbow into my body.
Great.
Oh, it sucks. It is very
Sounds
painful.
lovely.
Oh yes, yes. He enjoys his job a little too much. He really does.
Bit of a
Because
masochist. Eh?
no, he's
Oh.
a masochist. Like he really is. Because here I am, I'm waiting for my turn, and I'm hearing this woman squealing in pain, like yes. And I'm like, I'm next. That's
Oh,
going to be, and I knew it.
great.
And it
Wow.
was me. It was me.
How
Yeah.
long how long you been going to this particular guy?
Oh shoot. Years
Yeah.
actually. Like five, like shoot, maybe 6, 7 years,
Wow.
something like that. Once you find a good guy like
Yeah,
that understands your body and stuff, you gotta stick with him. And
sure.
the thing that really helps me with him in particular is the fact that he works on weekends. And it's
Um,
taken me a long time to find people that work on weekends. And now I've got my own little team that work on my body. So
yeah.
that which is good. So I had him do that to me and destroy my body uh Saturday morning, and then I saw my chiropractor in the afternoon.
Oh
So I
wow.
got so I got hit up twice, and then
Double
that's why I was just like, I'm out of commission. I'm freaking done.
whammy. Does our union take care of that? The
Yes,
cost?
yes, they do.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I think for acupuncture, for chiropractor, for massage therapy, for physiotherapy, I think we get $700 to $800 per.
okay.
Yeah, so it's good stuff, and it's there to be used, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. You're almost getting up to LeBron like ways of handling your body.
Oh man, if I could do just a little bit of what that guy does, I'm sure my body would be in perfect shape, like right now, today.
There's a lot of news from LeBron over the last couple of days.
Oh, okay.
His son was removed from the mock drafts, and many of the guys, experts that are trying to figure out who's going to get drafted this year into the NBA, and he just really took up defense of his son and said, these guys are idiots. He could play for the Lakers tomorrow, and I don't care what they're saying. We'll see. And he was really getting quite angry at all the pundits that were saying, no, Bronny's shouldn't be drafted. He's really not in those in the top 60, I guess.
I can understand him doing that as a father, but also too, I think LeBron is smart enough to know that that's what I should do.
Right.
I'm not going to limit my son. My son can do whatever he puts his mind to. At the same time, he has to realize he's got to follow a pretty massive shadow, your shadow. Like,
Yeah.
and then that's a tough thing to do because he's always going to be compared to his father, much like Michael Jordan's kids were always compared to the man himself.
Yeah.
It's what happens. Like the way I see it is if Bronny can at least make the league and just have like a good career, like a 10-year career, then that's a win. It's a
Yeah.
win, right? Like if you can do that.
Do you think it's just too much pressure on a kid that just wouldn't does just really can't handle it mentally? Is that what you think? What you think?
Ah, I would have to say it's pressure that he's lived with all his life.
Yeah.
So he should be okay with like dealing with it at the same time, you know, because I'm sure his father has prepped him, has prepped both of his sons by saying,
Right.
"This
Yeah.
is what you're going to face because I'm me. This is it.
Right.
This is your life. So this is how we're going to this is how we're going to deal with it. This is how you're going to deal with it." So I think it's just one of those things where, you know what, let the kid play ball.
Yeah.
He's going to develop the way he's going to develop. It's going to take him time. He's not going to be this transcendent figure like his father was, because like that's once in a couple 100 years that guy comes around like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, give the kid some time, man. Let him play.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I was going to mention Tiger Woods' son Charlie in this podcast.
Huh?
He was trying to qualify for a PGA Tour event this week. He went to a qualifying tournament and he shot an 86. Par was 72, so he was definitely way, way out of the mix. I think he shot a 10 on one of the holes, 10 or a 12 or something. Had a few bad holes that really derailed his day, but he's 15 years old and he's already trying to attempt to, play some of these events. I was like, wow, it seems like a little soon, possibly that he's already in that mix. And, with the pressure of dad being the greatest of all time, according to most people, it seemed like, yeah, just maybe a little too much for him this week. And yeah, I think maybe easing him into it as he gets closer to his 20s, not 15, which is pretty unrealistic for any kid that's 15, no matter even if he's Tiger's son.
Yeah, of course. It's super unrealistic. So what I think has probably happened for that particular instance is this. I think the son asked for it. He's
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
I think he was just like, I want to see where I'm at right
Right.
now,
Yeah.
right? Because he probably has a calculated not mind, just like his father, which is like, all right, this is where I'm at right now. So I'm not even close to where I need to be. So I got a lot of work to do in the next couple of years, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's probably his son is like the old man. That's probably how he thinks, which is just
Yeah.
like, all right, so this is where I'm at. Cool. I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. I heard that it was a little bit unruly. I heard maybe there was some hecklers. I heard that he was getting asked for autographs and pictures way too much. Lots of people following him every hole. I heard that it was not the best crowd that was actually around him that wasn't super respectful.
Again, sucks, but
Yeah.
that's what he's gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
He's
Good.
gonna have to deal with all of that stuff. And again, I'm sure his father's well equipped him to say, like, this is the stuff you're gonna have to, this is the circus you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with it right now. So don't worry, it will get better as you get older because you'll be better equipped to handle it. And you're
Yeah.
well equipped to handle it right now. So
I always remember hearing the stories about Tiger's dad when Tiger would be ready to putt and he would yell something or he'd make some, he'd jangle his change in his pocket. He would purposely step right in front of Tiger's on his line. He would do things that would upset him, that would, be distracting and trying to prepare him for that. So maybe this is sort of more of the same, passing down that from his dad to his son now.
yeah, I would agree with that. I would
Yeah.
agree with that for sure. Because again, like he's just gonna have to deal with this circus. And then once you get into it and you become a pro, that's gonna be all the time, every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be like that for sure for foreseeable future if he chooses that for a career and keeps on this. He's already looking pretty impressive for me, but yeah, that's a hell of a lot of a shadow and a hell of a lot to live up to. So hopefully he's able to handle it and forge his own Way. Mentioning, speaking of the PGA Tour, they had a tournament down in Mexico this week. And so we talked about this over the past couple of weeks. If you could choose anywhere in the world you would have been like to be this weekend, I would have chose Mexico. They had the UFC there as well as the PGA tournament there. I would have been able to take in both, and it would have been fantastic. Anywhere in the world you would have liked to be this weekend, outside of your couch?
Ooh, outside of my couch. Uh, you know what? I would go with Mexico too.
No, no.
I would have gone with Mexico just purely for the just because I would love to have seen that brawl that happened at the UFC. Did you see that?
I
Yeah,
saw that. Wow, that was crazy. That was chaotic.
yeah, no, it was awesome because I listened to Dana White his post UFC interview, and he was just like, "Yeah, that was pretty crazy how they didn't stop it. They
Yeah.
just let him fight
Security
until it
just
was
let it
over."
go for some reason. Yeah, they just said, "Oh well, we're not getting involved. They'll figure it out, I guess." And he
Yeah,
said that was the weirdest thing. Like I think the question was asked, "Is this a
yeah,
bad look on the UFC?" And he's like, "How could it be? Like,
yeah.
the security was the ones that just decided to let it go. Weirdest thing I ever saw. Typically in our arenas, the security's getting in there, separating people and hauling away the guilty party. So, it's kind of bizarre, and it just kept going on until I saw one guy get just totally rocked, and the whole entire place went, "Whoa!" And they almost all just stopped right at that moment. I think that kind of ended it all, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it did. Because I remember because like he actually got sucker punched. He got blindsided. So
Yeah.
the guy hit him with a left, I believe, and he just fell like a felled tree. Timber, boom,
Yeah.
and then it was just like, I think we're good. I think the fight's over. I think the fight's over. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just that seemed to just be the final nail in that coffin of that brawl, and
Uh,
and I think people realized, okay, yeah, he can get just completely KO'd here and be taken off to the hospital. So I better stop doing what I'm doing and just watch the fights.
yeah, exactly.
Watch the fights in the cage instead of outside the cage.
Yeah, exactly. Let's stop giving like the fighters something to look at, and let's just watch them do the fighting instead.
Yeah,
Like, but yeah, man, I thought the question personally was a little bit ridiculous. Like
yeah,
it was super ridiculous because it's like
yeah,
what UFCs don't have fights.
yeah.
There's always fights in the audience.
Yeah,
Always.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see it at NFL football games, you see
Yes,
it at
exactly.
baseball games, you see it at basketball games. Speaking of basketball, there was quite a few skirmishes over the weekend. Did you see the one that involved the Pelicans and the Heat? There was five players suspended today over the fight that they had going. Did you see that one?
Okay, that one involved Jimmy Butler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So explain to me again what happened because there was a couple of fracases. So which
Yeah.
what happened in that one?
So this one involved Zion Williamson and Zion Williamson was battling under the boards with a few of the players.
Yeah.
Thought he got fouled, and
Yeah.
then the foul wasn't called. He got a little irritated by it. Kevin Love had the ball and tried to outlet it to Jimmy, and Zion stole it from Jimmy, went in to do it to throw down a dunk, and Love just grabbed a hold of him to stop him from doing that.
Okay.
Zion lost his balance and fell on the ground. And so Jimmy came back towards Kevin Love and Zion and was just checking on Kevin if he was fine.
Yeah.
Najee Marshall came over to check on if Zion was fine, and then Jimmy and Najee started jawing
Yeah.
at each other. And
Right.
Jimmy kind of went at him, and then Najee just choked and put a
Yeah.
chokehold on him. And
Yeah.
then everybody started getting involved and
Uh,
separating, and then
yeah.
um, Jose Alvarado ended up
Rado.
having a scrap, and that continued over by the scorers table,
Yes.
and both benches cleared, and it became quite the long process of trying to sort it out. But yeah, it was it was pretty crazy over something that just seemed so non-confrontational really in the early stages, but it sure blew up into something.
Yes. Okay. Now that you've reminded me exactly how it all went down, I knew, I knew, oh, this is going to get out of control. As soon as that dude went for Jimmy Butler's throat,
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler's not playing around with you like that.
Jimmy freaking
Now
Butler
he's
does not play.
not
No,
playing, man.
no.
As soon as he did that, I'm like, it's a fight now. It's a brawl. Like, because
Yeah.
now it's like Jimmy, I could tell, like, you could see his eyes. It's like, oh, it's seeing red now. Okay,
Yeah.
it's on.
Yeah. The NBA ended up handing down suspensions. It was Thomas Bryan and Jose Alvarado that ended up having a fight that got
Yeah.
a little bit more heated. They both received 3-game suspensions. Butler and Marshall only got 1 game apiece.
Oh.
And then Nikola Jovic, he got 1 game for leaving the bench and getting involved in it. And Jimmy Butler, the 1-game suspension cost him $260,000, and the other 4 players combined, all their suspensions end up costing them $115K. So Jimmy's got the big bag, cost
Yes.
him $250,000. All the other guys only 115 that they got all throw in, but yeah, it got a little bit crazy and out of control, and it was no Malice in the Palace or Pistons Bulls or anything like that, but kind of a lot more heated than we've seen anything for a while.
You know what? I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Like, because these guys all sing Kumbaya with each other, and they they slap hands. Like, hey, brother, what's good? Like, like everybody's friends. Sometimes I want a little animosity. I want a little bit of like, I don't like you that much. There's some hatred there, and then that's okay. I
Yeah.
like that in the
Yeah.
competition.
Standing
like
up for your teammates, standing up for yourself. Don't let anybody choke me. I'm gonna put him back.
Yeah.
There was an incident between the Warriors and the Hornets. Lester Quinones from the
Yep.
Warriors was just about to do a layup or even maybe a dunk.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges came over and sort of swatted him. Got pissed off that he was trying to shoot. The game was actually seconds from finishing, and the coaches were already handshaking. And then they heard something and both looked and then decided, uh-oh, our players are fighting. And they ran out of the court to try to figure it out. Bridges got pretty choked. Grant Williams got really, really heated and flipped out quite a bit. And then, of course, Draymond was in there chirping as usual, getting involved. And it didn't get too ugly, but it took quite a while for them to get some cooler heads and get separated and finish the last couple seconds of the game.
Yeah, okay. And I remember why that happened, because there's that unwritten rule of you don't run up the score, the game is over, you just dribble out the ball, the clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think there was a difference, like Steve Kerr said it. There was a difference in the game clock and the shot clock.
Right.
And he put up the shot because the shot clock was about to expire.
Exactly.
So that's why he did that.
Yeah.
And then Steve is just like, well, you got to play the game. So you just play the game.
Yeah.
He could have held the ball, and then they could have just taken it side out, right? He could have done that. True. He decided not to do that. Yeah. Then the Hornets took exception to that. Even though the Hornets are garbage and they shouldn't take exception to anything.
Yeah.
How about try winning a game? You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
I mean, honestly, who cares if it was 95-84, which it finished, or 93-84? It was over. It was, just a few ticks left on the clock. And I think it got blown out of proportion there.
Yeah, me too. I think it definitely got blown out of proportion. And I got blown out of proportion by a team that nobody cares about. I'm sorry.
That's your
Nobody cares
team,
about
man. That's your team.
I know, and it hurts me to say that, but it's true.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about you. I'm sorry.
yeah. The last incident involved Dennis Schroeder and Mike Conley.
On.
I think Schroeder was really choked that they were losing. He ended up shoving Conley big time as he was putting up a three-pointer. It looked not good at all. I'm surprised that he didn't take a bunch of shots and punches from Conley's teammates. And a bunch of guys got texts. Dorian Finney-Smith, Schroeder got texts. McDaniels, Alexander. Conley was pretty much innocent bystander in it all, really. There was only 22 and a half seconds left, and he was shooting just as the clock was expiring. There would have been one more possession left in the game, I guess. And yeah, both the Nets and the Wolves ended up all getting out on the court and freaking out. But it was kind of weird that there was about 3 or 4 incidences just over this weekend.
Yeah, and you know what? The other weird thing is that particular incident involved Mike Conley, who is, you could argue, probably the nicest
Yeah.
NBA player going, period.
Right.
Because I just saw this. This is just an aside. I just saw this in his entire career. Do you know how many technical fouls that guy's had?
No.
Zero.
Really?
None.
Wow. Holy
None.
cow. Amazing.
So he's not a cheap player. So
No.
he plays the game the right way. So if you shoved him like that, that's on you. That's not on
Yeah.
him.
No, I blame Schroeder 100%. I think he just seemed like he was super frustrated and choked and just threw it out there. I don't know what he was thinking or doing, but I'm glad it didn't escalate into something way worse and cause any kind of injuries or troubles. Okay, sticking with basketball, I want to mention the court storming controversy that's happening over in the college game. Over the weekend, Wake Forest had a huge upset over Duke. They beat them 83-79, and the entire Wake Forest fan base came just storming onto the court. And
Yep.
as they did, they ended up running into one of the top stars on Duke. His name's Kyle Filipowski, and he got injured as the players or as the fans ran on. He kind of got clipped by one guy, kind of got hit by a second guy, ended up twisting his leg pretty badly. A bunch of the Duke players and coaches had to sort of surround him and then escort him off and get him back to the locker room. And it's been a huge topic of conversation ever since. It's been dug up the last little while, and I don't know what your thoughts are of with these fans running onto the court in these huge victories. Do you think it should be outlawed? Do you think it should be allowed still? Where do you stand on it?
Oh man, like we're getting to a point. It's like, I guess we can't have any more fun. We just can't have any more fun. It's like, oh well, somebody got hurt. Well, you know what we should do since we live in the cancel culture now? No more storming the courts. Nobody's allowed to go to the court. There's going to be security all around the court. You come on the court, you might get shot. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is fun for them.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes injuries happen because that happened with the lady, the Clark girl. That's
Caitlin Clark. Yeah, Caitlin Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, she got hurt too. So it happens. It's not intentional, clearly.
No.
I think it should still be allowed to. I think the kids should still be allowed to be kids and have fun and storm the course.
I'm glad you said that. I thought you would take the opposite stance, but I think it's great. I think it actually becomes such an iconic moment that most of the time, those kids, years from now, that will be one of the lasting images they have of their college life, of going to college. That will be something that always sticks in their mind, how incredible of a day they had, an amazing being able to celebrate the victory, go out on the court, jump around, have an incredible time. And I think it's lacking in many areas. The fans can't run onto the field in an NFL game, an NBA game, an NHL rink. There's lots of almost every professional sport, no chance. You got no chance of doing this. I think it's unique to college and it's pretty incredible and fun. Fantastic to watch. And I think it creates lasting memories and keeps these people fans of basketball for the rest of their lives, likely.
Yeah, I agree with you, because if you do that in the pro ranks, you get beaten up. You just get beaten up. That's what actually happens. So about that, this is the only time that you can do that, which is sort of like in college. It's the only time you can do it. And it's unfortunate when players get hurt. Maybe when it's like the last buzzer supposed to ring, maybe they can do something with the players where it's like, all right, guys, just maybe put the ball down in center court and just walk off.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they can figure out a safety
can,
aspect. Just maybe security guards just somehow, have a little bit of a cordoned off area where the players all get escorted off, as it's happening. But the Caitlin Clark thing, she did not get injured. She got knocked down, and luckily she wasn't seriously injured. And it brought this to mind. We talked about her last week breaking the NCAA scoring record. And if she got seriously injured, we don't get to talk about her in that glowing way. And so, how much of that would have really harmed her career, this milestone that she's achieved. And, that might have been something where they started saying this can't ever happen again. This Duke star, he's big, but he's not actually as big as Caitlin Clark is at the moment.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that too. Like if something major had happened to her that would have like impeded her career or going through or her getting these records and accolades and all that sort of stuff, then something major would have come down. Like something major would have come down. And so luckily, hopefully the young man's not that injured and he wasn't a big enough name that something was going to happen.
Yeah. So the thing about Caitlin Clark too is she's got 2 games left and she's only 51 points behind Pistol Pete Maravich for the all-time scoring record in the history of college basketball. I think she can do it. I think she's been able to get 25 points most games, and this could come down to that final game. If she gets about 25 points, she's maybe 26 away from it. And then I think her teammates are just going to feed the living heck out of her. We're going to see a Kobe Bryant kind of performance last game and just get that record, make sure she gets it done.
I think she's going to get the green light for both these games coming up. I think the coaches will be like, yeah, go for it. Hey, make sure we win the game, by the way. But go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I want to switch back to one more basketball note. Chris Paul returns from his broken hand this week, and that's very good news for Golden State, who's been struggling big time without him. He will be able to bolster that second unit, really come in and help them. Great to see. He's been out since January 5th, 19-year veteran. He's had way too many injury troubles in his career, and this was quite the setback. He'll be such a welcome addition for the Warriors.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of like just his just the way that he controls the game and the fact that he doesn't turn over the ball. That's all things that the Warriors need at this point in time.
Yeah. Okay, I mentioned off the top, Mexico was the place to be. UFC was there. Can't wait to break that down with you. But I do want to mention the golf tournament they had in Mexico. It was in Puerto Vallarta. I played a couple courses there. It's really great and fantastic. I don't believe I ever played this particular course, but PGA rookie Jake Knapp was really happy. He entered into the contest. He was the latest guy to capitalize on all those defections to LIV, and he ended up beating a rookie. The guy's name is Sami Villamäki. He's a Finnish guy. Beat him by 2 shots and was able to get his first victory. It gives him exemptions for the next 2 years, gets him into the Masters, into the US Open, the Players Championship, all these signature events. It probably made him $3.5–4 million just from this victory. He cashed a check for just under $1.5 million. And more rookies showing that hey, thank you so much, LIV. Thank you for taking all the top guys away. Now I got a chance, and it was great to see this rookie be able to hoist the trophy.
No, that's actually kind of awesome that these guys are getting a chance now, because you could say that the competition's somewhat watered down because LIV is taking away a lot of the top talent. Yeah. So that's cool. I think it's cool that these guys get a chance. They get to grow their name, they get to grow their brand, and they get to make a ton of money. So
yeah,
good stuff.
It's awesome. He looked pretty shaky. I watched a lot of his round on Sunday. He only hit 2 fairways out of 18 holes. He only hit 2 fairways. That is the lowest amount of fairways hit for a player that won since 1983. So it was crazy. I'm like, this guy's gonna blow it for sure. It looks pretty rough. But luckily, he only had a rookie guy behind him who was just having his struggles too. It was pretty crazy to watch these guys. This guy's was shanking him left and shanking it right. And I'm just like, this is unbelievable. Like, this guy had I think he had a 4-shot lead going into Sunday, and seemed like, okay, he's going to blow it. Somebody's going to catch him. But there was only one player in the top 30 in the world in the tournament. So he didn't have, really tough guys that were chasing him. So he could just shoot it all over the place and still get the win. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's awesome that he's just like, yeah, I can shank this one, and I don't have to worry about it because nobody's going to catch me. Nobody.
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. There was a Canadian guy in the mix. His name's Ben Silverman. He's from Ontario originally, 36 years old. He's had a long career. I think his career earnings are just over $2.5 million. So he's trying his best to, claw and grab. He didn't have a great Sunday either. He was right up there, maybe tied for second or third. Ended up finishing 13th overall, but nice to see another Canadian flag way up there most of the week. And yeah, we're just having such a massive resurgence of Canadians. Canadian golf, I don't think, has ever been better. Almost every single tournament now you see PGA on the PGA, Canadian flags decorating the leaderboard, and guys winning and getting right up there too. It's really nice.
No, it's awesome. It's fantastic, and it just goes to show that our golf program here in this country is in a good place right now.
Another huge golf story that came out this weekend was a guy by the name of Anthony Kim. Played on the PGA Tour through his early 20s, and won some. Played really, really great. Was quite the fan favorite. Made it up. His highest ranking was number 6 in the world. Ended up blowing out his Achilles tendon and had to have surgery, and never came back. He hasn't been on the PGA Tour since 2012, and LIV Golf is giving him a shot. Has signed him to a 1-year contract, and he's playing this coming weekend in Saudi Arabia. It's an amazing story, this comeback. He hasn't, as I said, he hasn't played in about 11, 12 years, and he's finally getting a shot with LIV. I don't know how big the contract is, but it has to be quite extensive, because he got paid somewhere in the neighborhood of between 10 and 20 million from insurance for his career-ending injury. And if he plays, he has to pay that money back. Yeah. And so LIV has to have given him more than this
Yep.
insurance money that he has to pay back. So it's going to be quite the story. I think it's going to put a lot of eyeballs on LIV this coming weekend and progressing through the year, seeing if he can come back. I think he's 36 years old now and not playing competitive golf for that long. I don't know what we're going to see from him, but he was quite the star back when he did play.
Wow. Wow. Like actually it's surprising to hear that an Achilles tear derailed his whole entire career.
Yeah.
Like that's actually kind of surprising because in this day and age, that shouldn't do that. Like you should be able to recover from that.
Yeah.
You should be good to go.
Yeah.
So that's great that he's getting a chance to be back in the spotlight, play the game that he loves. It's great to see that. And it's great that LIV is giving him that opportunity and clearly paying off his debt because, like, as you said, he comes back to play, then all that money has to be paid back. So, yeah, that's a lot of money for LIV. But
Yeah.
then again, I guess they have a lot of money. So that's kind of cool.
They just keep dishing it off and dishing it off. Here you go. Oh, you need 20 million. Oh, you need 100 million. Okay, here. Who needs money? Just
Yeah,
keep it coming, you know?
I
They're
wish I
that
could get some of
guy
that
in the
money.
strip club that's just doing
Yeah,
that.
make it rain. Make it rain.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Unreal. Speaking of money, the NFL just continues that juggernaut. They just made an announcement over the weekend that they are raising their cap next season by $30.6 million. 13% increase on last year's salary cap, $255.5 million for every team's salary cap next season. Pretty incredible money. 30 million. That's a huge leap up for from one season to the next.
That's massive. That's massive. I wonder if that's because of Taylor Swift. Did she literally say, you know what? I think you guys don't have enough money, so I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna date Travis, and I'll make you guys some money. Okay.
Maybe. The Taylor Swift effect. You talked about her cat making 90 million. So
Yeah.
NFL's like, okay, we want a piece of that pie. We're a little more famous than your cat.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently it worked. It worked.
It worked, yeah. I cannot believe the running back class that's going to be looking for dough coming into this coming season.
Okay.
Listen to the running backs that are eligible for salaries. All these teams that have the ability to tag them have said they're not. And all these guys are looking for new homes. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, A.J. Dillon, Devin Singletary,
Wow.
Edwards, Hilaire, and Ezekiel Elliott. All those guys are
Wow.
looking for contracts with other teams. That is the best running back class I think that's ever been seen in the NFL.
That's freaking amazing. That's
Yeah.
freaking amazing that all of them are up.
Yeah.
That none of the teams decided that they would want to keep that, especially now with the increase of 30 million.
Yeah.
So you would pay these guys now.
Yeah.
They can get paid.
Yeah. These
And
guys are gonna get paid, I think. Yeah.
yeah, like it just goes to show how much that position has been devalued by teams and ownership. Like it's just like it's shocking. Shocking to me.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. Crazy. It is super crazy and mind blowing.
Mhm.
Okay. So didn't make my way to Mexico. Pretty glad I stayed in Vancouver. Lots of events going on here. The biggest event that was happening downtown was the Rugby Sevens. And man, did that ever attract a huge crowd. 67,000 fans were there over the weekend witnessing rugby. Saw tons of the footage from there, watched a bunch of games. It was televised, which was great. I got to see quite a few of the games in action. And man, is that ever a hell of an event? I'm so glad that we are included here in Vancouver on this world tour. I'm shocked at all the places they go around the world. and Vancouver's on the list of one of the 8 cities that they bring this tournament to.
I think that's awesome that we're always one of the 8 cities that they bring the tournament to, because I think they see that we're passionate about rugby. We got a lot of people that like rugby, and they come out and support.
Yeah. They go down to LA this coming weekend. That's their next stop. Then they go Hong Kong, Singapore, and Madrid closes out their schedule. They've been already in Australia, and it's an amazing tournament, and the 8 stops are super fun. Argentina is the dominant team on the men's side. They won their 3rd straight tournament. So they've won 3 out of the 4. South Africa won 1, but Argentina has won 3 in a row. The women from Australia won 2 out of the first 3. Ireland got the other. And this weekend, New Zealand were the winners on the women's side. They won over France in the final. And Canada on the women's side got a big upset against Australia in the bronze medal game and took home bronze. Absolute shocker. Amazing performance by the Canadian women. The support there was phenomenal, and probably one of the greatest accomplishments for the women's sevens team ever to get this bronze, and especially beat in Australia, who's, as I said, won a couple of these tournaments already.
Yeah, which is just absolutely incredible that because they were clearly outmatched when they played Australia, and they were able to beat them. That's huge. That's huge. That's
Argentina on the men's side beat New Zealand in the final. France got the bronze there. So France got the silver and the bronze here. And yeah, incredible. As I said, LA this weekend should be amazing. They close out the schedule late May, early June in Madrid. A few more stops there. So fun, so amazing. Definitely when it comes back next year, don't miss it. Anybody that's listening, watching, if you can catch it anywhere in the world, do so. It's a fantastic weekend, and I've become a huge fan of rugby because of the sevens. I had lost my interest in the game at the full amount. These games are short, fast, tons of action. You get to see tons of games through a day. It's a hell of a game. Get to dress up with your friends, go there, have drinks. It's a blast. It's one of the best entertaining weekends of the year.
Yeah, it is. You know what? Like with the way that people dress up, it reminds me of like over in England when they play darts, and then you got those people that in the wild costumes and stuff. It's exactly like that. Just people out there having fun, which is just awesome. It's good to see.
I asked our friend Joe if he was going. He said he normally does. Him and his buddies weren't going to be able to partake this year, but he's a big proponent of it too. So yeah, we'll have to, the 3 of us and others will have to do it next year. We'll do it up, make sure we go. The other big event that was happening locally on Saturday here was the Canucks, right next door to BC Place. They ended up having a huge game against Boston. It was a battle for first place in the NHL, and obviously long-standing rivalry with Boston, especially losing that final in 2011. They beat us 4-0 earlier this year, and Vancouver played pretty well, but Boston was beating them 2-0 going into the 3rd period. Vancouver put the pressure on big time, ended up scoring a goal, getting the equalizer with the goalie pulled, putting it into overtime, and winning it in overtime, sending the crowd home super happy, breaking their longest losing streak of the season at 4 games. And really, it was awesome. It was such a great comeback and a huge victory that was very, very much needed.
That is fantastic to see that our longest losing streak this year has been 4 games.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is amazing, because there's been many times that hasn't been the case at all.
That's true, yeah. The Canucks were the last team in the NHL to have even a 3-game losing streak, and it went to 4. All of a sudden, there was a bit of like panic. Uh-oh, what's going on here? What are we doing? And being able to break that streak was great, especially against Boston. Pittsburgh Penguins are in town tomorrow night. Huge game. Always amazing to see Sidney Crosby, one of the greatest players to ever live. And yeah, this is going to be a big, big game in the city. Always when Pittsburgh comes.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a huge game in the city, and a lot of fans. There's still a lot of fans for Pittsburgh in the city, so yeah, it's going to be pretty competitive. Always fun.
There's tons of playoff games in hockey all over the province, all over the country. I went to see some playoff games this week. I went to see the Richmond Sockeyes play the White Rock Whalers. We saw the second game of the series. Richmond is up now 3-0. Game 4, game 4 goes tonight in Richmond. Looks like Richmond's going to take it. They were outscoring them, I believe it was 23-7 in those first 3 games. So looks like White Rock's going to get steamrolled out of the playoffs probably. But great to go to the old barn in Minoru and see Richmond get the victory. And yeah, good to see local playoff hockey. That was a lot of fun.
No, it's always good. Seeing the local guys go at it, see them play and stuff. Yeah, always a fun time. Always good, and to see them crush people like that, fun.
Yeah. Yesterday I went to see Vancouver play Langley. Our newest sponsored goalie, Nathan Rosenberg, was in net yesterday. And I was like, wow, I might be a good luck charm with this kid and with this team. Saw him only allow 1 goal in his first game, shutout in his second game, and he had a shutout going for most of this game. They were winning 1-0 for the longest time. And then all of a sudden, Vancouver came down, scored 2 super quick goals. And now it was 2-1 for Vancouver, way down until the last minute of the game. Nathan got pulled, came over, 6th attacker came in. They scored the game-tying goal with 1 minute and 7 seconds left. And they don't have any overtime, any shootout in that league. Just ended in a tie. So they've played 2 games now. First game, Langley won, and second game, it's a tie. Third game goes tomorrow night. So yeah, I'm going to try to make it out and see their game. If they win or tie, Langley wins or ties, they beat Vancouver and advance to the Final 4 in their playoff series. So yeah, and there's playoffs all over this Lower Mainland, all over the province, all over Canada. Go support your local teams. It's a blast. Great to go down there, have some hot chocolate, have some popcorn, enjoy the games. It's absolutely amazing, super fun. It's such a Canadian thing to do, and I highly recommend it to anybody that's watching or listening.
Oh, that's fantastic. That sounds so awesome, and hopefully they get the win tomorrow so that they can go on in the tournament.
Yeah, let's hope big time. Yeah, fingers crossed. Love to see Langley keep going. The Toronto Blue Jays kicked off their spring training schedule this weekend. They had games Saturday, Sunday, and today. They had a really crazy game. First game of the schedule. They lost 14-13 to the Philadelphia Phillies. Their big new addition, Justin Turner, had a great game. Turner's 39 years old. He had a career high in RBIs last year with the Boston Red Sox. Coming in, he's going to be their designated hitter, cleanup hitter. Looked fantastic. And I think he's a massive, huge addition to the Blue Jays. I think it was a big coup getting this guy. Even though he's 39, I think he's going to contribute heavily and help this team score a heck of a lot more runs, capitalize on a lot of opportunities that they kept missing on last year, not scoring guys when they were in scoring position.
Yeah, like he's going to be able to fill some holes that the team was sorely lacking from the previous season.
Yeah. Great to see him come from Boston, a division rival. They also got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa from the Yankees. He'll take over for Matt Chapman at third base. He looked great as well, and really impressive. Nice performances. They used about 11 pitchers that day. Spring training, they're usually using about a pitcher every inning, so tons of pitchers we got to see. On Sunday, they did play the Yankees. They ended up losing to the Yankees 12-6, but it was great to see some of the new Blue Jays prospects come in. This guy named Alan Rodin, he was their third round pick in 2022. He hit incredibly well in the minors last year. A lot of guys were like, yeah, we'll see if it translates to the majors. But he drove in 3 runs yesterday, looked great at bat, and yeah, could be a really great find in the third round. Great pickup for them. I thought he looked awesome.
Oh, that's great if you're able to find like a player of that caliber that can step in and be
Yeah.
an impactful player right away. That's good.
Yeah. Um, they then they played Pittsburgh today. It was the debut of Vladimir Guerrero, who won his arbitration case, got $20 million coming to him this year. He was 1 for 2 today. Blue Jays finally got their first win of the spring. Their backup catcher, Brian Server, had 5 RBIs today, a 3-run home run and a 2-run double, contributing, obviously, biggest factor why they won 8-4 against the Pittsburgh Pirates today.
Biggest factor? Sorry, you cut out there. Could you say that again?
He drove in 5 runs, a 3-run home run and a 2-run double, and they won 8-4. So Brian Servin, their backup catcher, was the guy that came in and was the reason why they won today.
Oh man, that is fantastic. That's awesome that he was able to do that, pull that off with the way that he did it. Nice.
And then the other thing that I noticed on Saturday, which was really hilarious, was I saw one of their relief pitchers. His name is Brian Meza, and he had the strangest number on his back. It was a 4 with a equal sign and then a 10. And I'm like, wow, like how could they allow a guy to have a number like that on his back? This is weird. And then I saw him going and picking up the bats after the players were finished at their plate appearance. And I'm like, this is really weird. What's going on here? So I dug a little deeper and found out that he lost their NBA fantasy pool. No, not NBA, NFL fantasy pool. And he was 4-10 on the season. And his punishment was to be the bat boy for opening day. He had to be the bat boy. So he was relegated to the one end of the dugout with the bat kids, and he had to go and pick up the bats, and he had to wear his sad numbers on his back for 4 wins, 10 losses on the season.
Oh, that is actually awesome. That is awesome. You gotta love baseball players. They know how to have fun, man. And
Yeah.
that is so good. So good.
I thought it was super funny and totally great. I loved it a lot. Yeah, this team seems tight year after year, and love it when they're having a ton of fun like that. So I do want to mention Lionel Messi ended up getting the huge tying goal for Inter Miami on the weekend against LA Galaxy. Miami is first place in the MLS right now, looking fantastic, and Messi is the biggest reason. We talked about him last week. I think we're going to talk about him every week. He is just incredible. Some of the goals that he set up the week before, the one where he chipped it over to the guy laying down that hurt, and that's been viral. I've been seeing it all week, and fantastic goal for him. They ended up tying LA 1-1. LA Galaxy is actually the other team that they think is going to face Miami in the final this year, if the pundits are right. And great to see a game against them early on, and getting to test each other. Ended up in a tie.
Yeah. It's cool to see them face off, knowing that they're probably facing off in the future. And here's the great thing about Messi playing is that he did play.
Yeah.
So that all those people that paid all those exorbitant prices for the tickets, Well, they got to see the man play. So,
Yeah.
which is always a good thing. I hope for the majority of the season that he can actually play in most of the games so
Yeah.
that people just don't feel like they got scammed.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, let's hope. Get fingers crossed. They had a record crowd there in the LA Stadium, the most fans they've ever had for an LA Galaxy game. So I'm glad they got their money's worth, and glad they got to see him play, and had a good performance too. So yeah, let's hope he plays a majority of the 34 games this year, and we get to see him in a lot of amazing performances. I did want to also mention Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi have been always compared to each other over their entire careers. Who's better? I like him. I prefer him. They've been neck and neck. Ronaldo got a lot of controversy this weekend because he was playing in. He's got a contract over in Saudi Arabia. There was some fans heckling him, saying Messi's better, and he got a little pissed off, started giving them some gestures. I guess he's in some hot water for flipping them off and and gesturing in their way. I guess he doesn't have very thick skin because they were easily able to rattle him, and he's created a bit of controversy for himself.
Why? Why? Like you know he's heard all of this nonsense before. It's like, why would you even be affected by that? Like, it's like, dude, you're rich. You're one of the best players who have ever played this game. Like, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
like, what? Why even like? I understand there's the comparisons are going to happen, but you don't need to do that. You don't need
No,
to. You don't need to feed into that. It's like, no, man, I'm good. I'm good.
he's got Kevin Durant syndrome, I think. That's what I
Yeah,
heard. Yeah.
yeah. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Okay. There was just yeah, let's fire into our UFC now. We had UFC in Mexico, fight night 237 in the altitude of Mexico City, 7,350 feet above sea level, 2,240 meters for the rest of the world outside the US. First card in Mexico since 2019. And they got out of the stinking Apex, got it to a place where the fans were rabid. Sure would have been amazing to be there because the crowd noise and the energy that you could feel from there every time a Mexican fighter came out, it was awesome. And the UFC is just so much better when they get the crowd behind these fighters and in their hometowns. It just makes it so great to watch.
Yeah, it's second to none. It's
Yeah.
second to none. Like it's clear that they're better having fans there. And yes, like yourself, I would rather them do less of the Apex, but yeah.
There was fighters. Obviously, there was 10 fighters, as I mentioned, 10 fighters from Mexico on the card. One fight did get canceled last minute, so maybe it ended up being 9. Maybe it was. But there was also a lot of Latin American fighters on this card from Peru, Brazil, Venezuela, Argentina, and they were a lot of the lesser weight classes as well. Lesser poundage, I mean. 5 flyweight fights on the card, and yeah, a lot of electricity. I think probably the crowd was a bit disappointed that the main event and the co-main event, the two Mexican fighters did end up losing, so it didn't have that really fun thing that happened here at UFC 289 in Vancouver, where just kept winning and winning and winning and winning, and finally had the victory at the end. But still a hell of a card, great showing. I think Dana White is finally convinced that the UFC and Mexico have really come together, and it's a great partnership. I think he was always worried that boxing was always going to overshadow it, never going to be able to surpass the popularity of boxing there, even come close to it. Now they opened this Performance Institute this past week. He cut the ribbon, officially opening I think the sky's the limit. I think we're going to see multiple cards per year in Mexico. We're going to see more champions, and we're going to see more great events like this.
Yeah, and I think the thing that helped the most was that at one point they had Mexican champions. I think they only have the one now, but they had two there. And also too, it's just smart business because that's what the UFC needs to do. They need to start branching out into some of these major cities in different countries and setting up there. That's what they're doing, and that's what they do need to do. So
Yeah. We usually talk about the main event right off the bat, but I kind of want to talk about the co-main event. I think Brian Ortega winning in such an amazing comeback fashion, coming back from severe injury, off for a really long time, spraining his ankle in the fighter introductions,
yeah.
almost getting KO'd in that first round, so close to having the fight stopped, and he comes back in the next couple rounds and starts dominating, ends up winning this fight in incredible fashion, and really just took the victory from the jaws of defeat. And I think ended up being the star of the show that night.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt, 100%. He was almost done in that first round. Like he was literally seconds away from being done. Like the guy was about to call it, didn't do it.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the fact that Ortega fought his freaking ass off to get back into that fight.
Yeah.
And did it and used it to his strengths by taking the fight to the ground where he knew that he could dominate.
Yeah.
And then eventually in the third round, he was just like a dog on a bone. Like he was super committed to trying to finish the fight, which he did against Rodriguez, who's one of the best.
Yeah, that arm triangle choke, I couldn't believe how lethal it was. And Mark Goddard had to come in and pull him off. Yeah, he was just, as you say, Goddard was right in there looking. If one more shot lands clean, that's it. That fight is over. I was shocked that he even came back. How much do you think it rattled him when he rolled his ankle in those fighter introductions and really had to be like, holy cow, can you believe that I'm hurt already and we haven't even started? Do you think it maybe contributed to that early storm that he had to weather?
I think so. And I think he even alluded to it because he was just like, I can't believe I just freaking did this. I cannot believe I just did that. And it was weird too, because it's like, we've seen it plenty of times. Guys try to loosen up, do their jumps or whatever. That's all he was doing. And then all of a sudden it's like, you see him stumble. I go, whoa, what was that? And I'm like, he hurt himself already? Fight hasn't even started. That's got to suck. And so, yeah, I think that got into his head. But luckily he was able to overcome it. And luckily he wasn't that hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully, that was brutal. He tore his rotator cuff. The last time these two guys fought, that's the last time he has fought since it. He had to have four surgeries on that shoulder, and brutal to have to endure all the rehab. You talked about rehab this weekend. You were laid out for, the entire weekend from your adjustments. Imagine having to undergo four surgeries and try to get back to elite level and try to beat the guy that beat you last time. He had so many things to overcome in this fight and did it. I'm just blown away at this performance, and it really just changed the whole trajectory of his career. If he loses, one more shot lands and he loses this fight, that might be it for the guy. You might start thinking, well, maybe he just couldn't come back from that. But this just changed his entire life.
No, yeah, it did. It did. The fact that he just didn't give up on himself either, which he's never done, by the way. But the fact that he had the will and trying to get through such a tough guy in Rodriguez as well. Yeah. And the fact that he did it, pulled it off. I did love the fact that after the fight was done, so as he's doing his interview, he basically told the guy that the translator's like, you know what? I got it.
I got this.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah. I like that too. Yeah, that was great. That was really great. He's moving up the ranks in some of the incredible history of the UFC featherweight division. The most finishes is by Max Holloway, 11. Ortega now is tied for second with 7 finishes. Ricardo Lamas is the other guy that he's tied with. He also has the second most submission wins ever. Charles Oliveira has the most at 6. And then Ortega is tied with Daniel Pineda, Makwan Americani, Mr. Finland, and Chaz Skelly. They all have 4 each, second most submissions. That got him 50K and is going to get him another big payday. What's next? Who does he face next? Is it already Ilya Topuria, or is it somebody before him to get that next shot?
I want to say I think he might have to fight somebody else before he gets to Poria. That's kind of my feeling on that, because he's really close, and that was a very close fight. But I think he needs to fight somebody else.
They pretty much guaranteed if Yair won this, he had Topuria next. So
yeah, but he didn't win.
Yeah, but he didn't win. So,
yeah.
but Rodriguez is number 3. Ortega is number 4.
Number 4.
He beats him. They're gonna flip flop positions.
Yeah.
Max Holloway is in the number 1 position, but he's doing that stupid BMF fight in UFC 300. So
right. I forgot about that.
Him and Justin Gaethje are fighting for a meaningless belt. If Holloway isn't scheduled for that fight, I think Holloway's next. And it should be if they don't, have Volkanovski fight, which I don't think they're going to. But but so who does Ortega fight then?
Yeah, because yeah, you're right. Like, because who would he fight? I don't know, man. Like it feels it doesn't feel right that he should fight Topuria yet. Like, I don't know. Like it's just my feeling, my sentiment. And I totally forgot that Holloway can't fight him right now because he's doing the BMF fight. Because that's who I would put against Topuria immediately. Yeah. Be Max Holloway, right? Yeah. So yeah. So you know what? So now, with that being said, it might be Ortega.
I'm hoping something happens and that BMF fight doesn't happen and Holloway gets a shot. I'm hoping that somehow somebody just can't fight for some reason. Nothing major, no injury, but Holloway deserves it. I believe. I think that's the fight that it makes the most sense, makes the most money. I think it's incredible. I think if they have it in Spain, Holloway goes over to Spain. I think it's one of the biggest fights on in the year in history maybe. And this BMF belt, they think they should retire that. It's just pointless now, and it's just something made up that it sort of makes me kind of think of WWE stuff. Like, I don't want that. I want real belts, like real legitimate belts.
Yeah, it is. It's a gimmick. And that's why they created it in the first place. It's just for it to be a gimmick so they can make money. So they've done that. And now they're going to break out the gimmick again. But now it's taken away a really good guy that could be fighting for a belt.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. I guess Movsar Evloev, we talked about him last week. Maybe that's who Ortega fights. And and then Topuria, maybe Volk, or maybe someone finishes. I don't think Holloway, Gaethje. I think those guys are going to have a war, and then they're going to need 6 months or so to recover and have another fight. Likely, that's how I think it's going to turn out.
Oh, that's exactly how it's going to turn out, because those guys are. If you're going to fight for that belt, right? What that means is it's going to be a war.
Yeah.
And that's what it's. Every fight for that belt has been an absolute war. That's what's going to happen again this time around. Those guys are going to need a lot of time to recover from this fight. So that means that Holloway won't be fighting Topuria anytime.
Okay, now let's switch to the main event. We see Brandon Royval. Moreno coming in as the odds-on favorite, and definitely the crowd favorite. And this was a rematch as well. Shoulder injury. Kind of funny how both were rematches, both ended similar fashion. And yeah, I was really quite excited about this one. Moreno had a pretty good, I would say not pretty good, but a very weird feeling out first round. I thought he won the round 10-9, just barely. Second round, thought he just barely won it as well. I thought he was just going to grind out these, these rounds this way. But Royval, just the amount of strikes that he was putting out there, he wasn't very accurate, but he was just continuously throwing and throwing and throwing. Had over 500 strikes in this fight and ended up winning those last 3 rounds and getting this victory. It was pretty impressive performance from Royval after I thought he lost the first 2 rounds, was able to really put it on him and get the win.
Yeah, and he put it on him through pace and just the sheer volume of strikes.
Yeah.
He never stopped throwing.
Yeah.
And that was the most impressive thing, where I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. This guy doesn't get tired, at all. He doesn't get tired. And I kind of thought that Moreno was going to follow what Pantoja did to Royval, which was just have a very grappling, heavy-based attack, because that won against Royval. But he wasn't able to do that. And I think that, in part, a lot of that was due to Royval improving upon it. So credit to him.
I don't understand why Moreno employed the style that he employed. He was Herb Dean had to yell at him,
Yes.
a few times in that first round. Hey, get going, engage. What are you doing here? Every time that they clinched, Herb was right in there saying, like, do something or I'm separating you. I don't remember seeing Moreno fight the way he fought. It seemed like he was worried. He was trying to stay on the outside way too much, stick and move, moving, and really not being that guy to engage much. I don't know why he didn't see that over the last 3 rounds, he was slowly starting to lose that fight. And he kind of looked surprised when the decision was made. And I don't think many people that were watching the fight really were surprised that Royval ended up being the winner.
No, I wasn't, because he wasn't busy enough.
Yeah.
He simply wasn't busy enough. It looked like what they tried to incorporate was that he would go second, kind of like he would wait for his opportunities to counter, always counterattack. But by waiting all the time, that means that you've taken away your aggression, and the other guy is super aggressive. That means he's winning the fight, because he's actually trying to bring the fight, fighting.
Yeah,
where you aren't. So
no, I think him and his team are going to be really upset and really disappointed. He just had to win one of the last 3 rounds, and he's got this fight, I think. And the scores were, split decision. There was 2 48-47s, and Moreno won 49-46 on one of the judges' scorecards. So, he was seeing it for Moreno, but in my opinion, it was a right decision. It ended up being a split. There were 4 split decisions on the card, and that was one shy of the UFC record, which has been held 3 different times. UFC Fight Night 79, UFC Pay-Per-View 222, and UFC Pay-Per-View 274 all had 5 split decisions on their card. This seemed crazy. I don't remember seeing 4 in a very long time. And that seemed like the judges were really confused and unsure of how to score these fights.
Well, some of them were super close. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say that some of them were very, very hard to score. So I'm going to give them that. But the one judge for this one, with Moreno scoring at 49-46, I don't know what he was looking at.
Yeah.
Sorry. Don't agree.
Yeah, 4 rounds to 1 for Moreno did not seem what I was watching there.
No.
I started I started the card from the beginning and was watching, and I kept taking notes, and it was amazing. The first 5 winners on the card had 1 takedown, and the losers had 21. And so I was like, okay, this is great. This is finally what I love. I don't want a takedown to be scored so heavily for the fighter to take him down if he doesn't do anything while the fight's on the ground. And I noticed way too often that a fight would be close and a guy would get a late takedown and they'd give the round to the jiu-jitsu guy. And I'm like, he didn't do anything when the fight was on the ground. Why are you scoring that so heavily? The other guy had landed a couple better shots, more damage. I thought that's the criteria. And this one was finally starting to be like, okay, I can see this. This is great. And I think quite possibly the Mexican Athletic Commission said, hey, you got to score damage way more than just takedowns with no damage on the ground. And that's what's playing out almost this entire card. It was incredible.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a difference that I noticed in the scoring and in the scoring criteria, and the fact that I liked it too as well, because you can have a takedown and not do anything with it, or you can have a takedown and do something with it, where you were
Yeah.
attacking for a submission or there's some significant ground and pound. Now, if that happens, then you should score that.
Yeah.
That's a good score.
If a guy's gonna take a guy down and just lay and pray, like it's boring. It's not fun to watch. Nobody wants to see it, and I'm sick of it. I am really getting super sick of it. And this card was one of the first ones where I noticed a significant advantage of guys that were getting taken down and winning fights. In the end, this is how many it worked out to be. The winners out of all the entire card, the winners had 10 takedowns and the losers had 31.
Wow.
So
Wow. Okay.
so that's the first time I remember seeing that. And I think that was something that I hope a lot of commissions start telling their judges, hey, score takedowns. If the guy's doing damage, score the takedown definitely for him. But if he doesn't do anything much with it, it can't score much. It can't really count and just win around. It shouldn't. And it didn't on this card. And I really felt it was a significant change in the way I've been seeing scoring for a long time.
Definitely a significant change. Hopefully this change carries through to for the rest of the year and into the future,
Yeah.
because this needed to happen at some point. And I'm
Yeah.
glad if it's starting with this particular card, great.
Yeah.
Continue going through with it.
Okay. So Royval, this was number 3 against number 4 as well. Royval, does he deserve Pantoja, who he's already lost to recently and twice now? Does he deserve a title shot already against Pantoja? And does anybody want this? The last time they fought was just December, and he dominated him big time. I think he won all 5 rounds. And so, is there an appetite for it already, or does he need to show himself against somebody else?
I think he needs to show himself against somebody else for sure, because he got crushed. You know, like he didn't win a round. So he was in the fight, but he didn't win a round. So I think he needs to fight somebody else. And the other thing is too, since we've just recently seen that fight, nobody wants to see that fight just replay again.
No. Yeah, good. I'm glad you feel the same way. I do want to mention fight of the night, which happened right before the co-main. Daniel Zellhuber against Francisco Prado. Great fight, but a mismatch for the matchmakers. 9-inch reach advantage. Zellhuber used it incredibly well. Prado had to wade into deep waters, and he got himself beat up so bad. The doctor almost stopped this fight because his eye was a mess. closing up very badly. And Zellhuber looked great, but you know, when you got that big of a reach advantage and you take advantage of it with great jabs, kicks, and keep the guy on the outside, there's no way you should lose a fight. And Zellhuber looked good, but to me, it was a mismatch the way the matchmakers put this together.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that because Prado was having a very difficult time trying to wade in. And whenever he did wade in, he took hits. He took shots, man. And he took a lot of shots. Zellhuber was very efficient with his striking, with keeping his distance, with the range and everything else. Like, yeah, he dominated this fight.
I hope Prado has some very huge glasses or he has a mask that he can wear this week because his kids are going to be scared. His wife isn't going to be happy. His friends and family. He was beat up. That looked pretty rough. He's going to be. It's going to take a while to recover from the absolute massive abuse he took to his face. It in a way should have been stopped because he was just getting beat up worse and worse and worse as the fight wore on.
Yeah, and also too, like once the eye gets to that point, it gets kind of dangerous. And I don't think he had a broken orbital bone, but I'm sure that eye was getting close to being broken.
Yeah.
Sure it was.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Both got 50K. Hopefully that 50K can help him heal up well and he will be able to recover from that. Hopefully they put him up against somebody that's about the same height as him, got the same kind of reach next time. The fight that was supposed to happen right before that got scrapped. Raul Rosas Jr. and Ricky Tercios. It just got scrapped just before their walkout. They ended up not being able to fight. It will take place this Saturday at the Apex UFC Vegas 87. Tercios was pretty choked, got onto social media, said this guy was a chicken. Couldn't believe that he bailed that quick. What the hell's his problem? Really called him out. Really wants to beat him up bad to show how pissed off he is that he has to stay there. It will be at a catch weight. They both did make weight. And so Dana White said they won't have to make weight again for this Saturday. So they might have even better a fight. They won't be as depleted and have to replenish so bad. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm glad they're able to run it back so quick.
Yeah, me too. I'm very glad they're able to run it back. But did you hear what the issue was? They never clarified that.
Oh.
Okay, so I guess it's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's a mystery.
Yeah. Okay. The fight between Yasmin Jauregui and Sam Page Hughes. Also a bit of a mismatch in my opinion here. I thought Hughes is way over her head. Definitely just did not have the abilities that Jauregui has. And yeah, it just seemed like an easy walk through the park, in my opinion, for Jauregui. 30-27 across the board, and really was, yeah, it just didn't seem like a great enough match was made by the matchmakers on this one.
No, man, it seemed pretty obvious to me where as soon as the fight started, it seemed like one person was very adept, natural in their stand-up game, and the other just clearly wasn't. And it showed because Jauregui put together some fantastic combos. Her footwork was excellent. Her distance management was everything to do with stand-up was fantastic on her part. Hughes was outmatched. Jauregui won this walking away.
Yeah. Easy. Hughes attempted 6 takedowns, didn't land any. That was her only shot in this one, in my opinion. Couldn't land them. Jauregui got the easy one. Okay, couple of Dana White Contender Series fighters, and the one before this, Manuel Torres against Chris Duncan. This was a pretty impressive performance from Torres. He ended up getting 50K as one of the performance of the nights. And yeah, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was pretty impressive, man. Because he got hurt early, Torres, and still put this guy away quick.
Yeah.
with the rear naked choke. So I was impressed with Torres. I was impressed with his ability to overcome because he did get clipped. He did
He
get
got
hurt.
rocked really badly right away, early
Yep,
on, like one of the first exchanges of the fight.
yep,
He tried coming back and he threw that head kick and it just missed Duncan over his head. And then I'm
yep.
like, whoa, he's trying to come back. Dove for the takedown really quickly, and then he was able to control the back, get the rear naked choke in, and get the win. Really nice takedown by him, and yeah, he was definitely in trouble, and was able to turn the tides real quick and get the win. Very early on. What was it? Yeah, 1:46. So, nice victory for Torres there. Okay. Now let's just get into the prelims. The prelim feature fight had Christian Quinones against Raoni Barcelos. I love this fight. Both these guys are super tough. Really fun fight. And I had it um 1 round apiece going into the third round. Barcelos was eating some shots, but ended up grabbing the kick, sweeping the leg, ended
Mhm.
up getting the back on a scramble, got the rear naked choke in and forced the tap here. Even though he had a separated shoulder in this fight, he was still able to get the win, and very impressive. He's one of those tough guys, a veteran, been around for quite a while, and I really liked his performance too.
Yeah, no, he's a veteran. He's absolutely tougher. He's super tough. Maybe too tough because I don't know how you do that. How you fight with that injury going ahead. But he did it, and especially in that third round where he knew he had to have it, and then he got it done, got him to the ground, and got that rear naked choke. Because Quinones looked really good in this
Yeah,
fight.
yeah,
He looked exceptionally good in this fight. So hats off to Barcelos for taking him out.
yeah. I loved it. Um, okay. Can we just skip to the Edgar Chairez, Daniel De Silva
Yep.
fight? We had a submission victory a couple minutes into the first round. I like this fight. These two guys are super tough flyweights and impressive performance. Wrapping up the triangle and forcing Lacerdo to tap. He originally had the omoplata around the arm,
Yeah.
had to really switch it after that came out and
Yeah.
sunk in that triangle so fast. It was amazing that he was able to quickly. I think he went for one submission, couldn't get
Yeah.
it, went for a second, went for a third, boom, got it. It was quick and lethal.
Yeah, no, he chained those submissions together well, and he got the win. But funny enough, both these guys didn't make weight.
Yeah,
Both
brutal.
of these guys didn't make weight. I was surprised. I was just like, wait, both of them didn't make weight?
Yeah.
So does that mean then nobody loses anything since they both didn't make weight?
Yeah. Yeah, usually part of your purse has to go to the other guy, but with both of them missing,
Yeah,
the one it's pretty brutal though. Chairez ended up missing by
over
what, 6 pounds, was it?
6 pounds or something
Six
like that. It was
pounds. Like that's
brutal.
not even giving it a try. Like that's
No,
pretty bad. That's
yeah,
pretty bad. It was the only the fifth time in UFC history that both fighters missed weight. Only the fifth time. And it's the first time that the guy that was the heaviest won it
oh,
out of the 5 times that's happened before.
wow.
But Lacerda, I think he's going to be looking for a new job. He in his UFC career, he's 0-5 with one no contest. So even though super tough, very impressive guy from shoot to box, Charles Oliveira in his corner, like what he brings. But when you're winless in 6 UFC appearances, I don't think you've got a job going forward.
Yeah, I don't think Charles Oliveira is going to save his job this time around. I think he's done. I think he's
Yeah,
done.
that was about it. So, Chira's got his purple belt in the cage. They slapped it on him and said, "Way to go! You're finally purple belt worthy." Pretty impressive for only just getting your purple belt.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. You know what they should have also given him? Maybe something to eat, since you know what he's probably pretty hungry.
Yeah. Okay, talk about one of the other fights that stands out for you on the card. Did you like the Claudio Puelles Fares Smile Killer Ziam fight? I did.
No, I did. Again, another split decision. I thought Ziam had won it with his superior striking stand up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was close because Puelles, did I say his name right? Puelles?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Puelles did very good with his grappling throughout the course of this fight. So it was back and forth, but I saw Ziam was he got the nod because of his stand up.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah. Do you any of the other fights super stand out to you that you want to make some mention of?
Just with the Rodriguez and Bonder, I thought it was pretty impressive for Rodriguez getting the rear naked choke to finish off Bonder in round two.
Yeah, he kept going for it and finally got to sink it in.
Finally done.
And
Yeah.
there was there just 1 second left in that round? Was that where it
Uh,
was?
it was very close to being like done.
Yeah, there was
Very
yeah,
close.
1 second left in that second round.
Yeah.
That's always got to just frustrate a coach. You're like, don't tap, don't tap, don't tap, don't tap. Oh no,
Uh,
you tapped. Like
yeah.
you
Yeah.
had to wait one more second. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, but if you're that
Um,
guy, if you're that fighter, you're just like, I couldn't, coach. I was gonna die.
what's going on?
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. Um, Victor Altamaro against Felipe dos Santos. Altamaro had 9 takedowns in the fight and lost this decision. I would love it if somebody watching or listening right now tells me the last time somebody had 9 takedowns and lost a fight. I bet you it goes back years. Gonna take a while, but that's pretty incredible. And good on the judges for not giving him the nod just because he got the takedown but didn't do anything with him.
Yeah, no, it's gone that way too far, and I'm glad that it's now coming back to where it should have always been.
Yeah. And then I feel quite a bit sad for Eric Silva. He ended up blowing out his leg. It looked like he blew out his knee early on and lost the fight. What was it? Yeah, 44 seconds in. Hopefully he can recover and it's not something that requires surgery. He was down and out super fast, and it sucks when you train that hard, get that ready, you're in front of your home crowd fans, and boom, you're out of it that quick. Tough way to start the night, but let's hope that he can recover quick.
Yeah, let's hope for that too as well. Was that a non-contact
Yeah.
injury?
Yeah.
Absolute worst. Those are the worst.
Brutal.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Okay, we've got an early card coming up this Saturday. We start out with 10:30 a.m. Pacific with the prelims, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern with the main card. We've got a heavyweight battle to start. We got Biggie Boy Jairzinho Rosenstrike against Shamil Gaziv. Gaziv comes in 12-0, only ranked 20th in the UFC, but he is the favorite going in. Rosenstrike has had a little bit of a hard go recently. He's lost 3 of his last 4. but he is lethal if he can land one of these bombs. We'll see how this one plays out. I'm leaning more towards Gaziv. I think he's moving up in the ranks. Jairzinho's higher ranked than him, but on a bit of a slide lately.
Yeah, I think Kazeev is probably going to be smart and just probably take this fight to the ground, which would make it super easy, make this fight a lot easier for him to win if he were to do that. Because if he keeps it standing, well, that guy, you're giving that guy a chance to knock you out.
Yeah. Gaziv is 1-0 in the UFC. He did knock out Martin Budai, UFC 296 in December, 56 seconds into the second round. He got into the UFC through the Dana White Contender Series, was able to get a first round rear naked choke victory to get him in. Biggie Boy lost his last fight against Jalton Almeida, rear naked choke in May of 2023. And yeah, he's actually lost 4 out of his last 6. So yeah, you're right. Gaziv needs to get it to the ground, not let him land some of those massive shots, and he'll likely have the victory. Co-main event has a light heavyweight battle between undefeated Vitor Petrino against Tyson Pedro. It is pretty significantly in favor of Petrino. He's got, out of his 10 victories, he's got 7 KOs and 1 sub. Came in through the Dana White Contender Series as well, and he's 3-0 in the UFC. And yeah, looking like the guy that is on the trajectory up. Tyson Pedro did win his last fight. They both have a similar opponent, Antov Turkov. They both beat him quite handily, knockouts. And Pedro has won 3 out of his last 4, but I'm sort of giving the nod here to Vitor.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. This is going to be that for Vitor. This is a very good fight. This is a step up in his competition. So this is going to tell him where he's at this moment in time. So good fight, good matchup.
We also got a couple of very intriguing flyweight matchups on the card. Alex Perez, number 7, against Mohamed Makayev, number 8. Perez, the Mexicans, 24-7. Unfortunately, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but he's lost to the current champion, Alexander Pantoja, and former champion, Davison Figueiredo. So no chumps that beat him there. Makayev is undefeated, 11-0, 5-0 in the UFC. The British boxer out of Manchester, they call him the Punisher. The last win he had was a arm triangle choke on Tim Elliott, UFC 294 in October in Abu Dhabi. On his career, out of his 11 wins, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions, and only 3 decisions. Yeah, hard to know. I think this one's super great. I love the matchmaking in this. I don't really know who I'm favoring. When you see an undefeated fighter, maybe, but the experience factor, 3-1 goes to Perez, 24-7.
Oh yeah, that absolutely goes to Perez. I think this is going to be a great, fantastic fight. In fact, I think this might be our fight of the night.
Yeah,
this one right here. Yeah, because like these guys are very close in skill level and compete level, and I think this is going to be an awesome fight.
The other flyweight fight on the card is the opening fight on the main card, and has number 9 Matt Schnell against number 12 Steve Erceg. So we got 7, 8, 9, and 12 in these 2 flyweight fights. Schnell is 16-7 in his career. Erceg is 11-1. Schnell has 2 knockouts, 9 submissions, and 4 decisions on his career. He did lose his last fight to Mateus Nicolau. Erg is the Astro Boy. He's out of Perth, Australia. He's on a 10-fight winning streak, 2-0 in the UFC. His 2 fights were won by decision. He beat Alessandro Costa UFC 295 in November, and David Dvorak, UFC 289 here in Vancouver in June. Both were bonuses for performance of the night, which is kind of mind-blowing because usually they don't give bonuses for decision victories. So this was obviously a great performance by Ursig. So yeah, cool that we see 7, 8, 9, and 12. Really good flyweight battles on this card.
No, it's great. I'm glad that we get to see these guys fight. And for the Schnell Ursig fight, I'm kind of leaning towards Ursig.
Okay.
I think he's my favorite to win that fight.
Yeah, I like Astro Boy. He's good. Yeah. We have a Nurmagomedov on the card. Bantamweight fight, still undefeated. Umar, he is the older brother of the Bellator champion Usman and the cousin of Khabib. He's called the Young Eagle, following in Khabib's footsteps. 16-0 in his career, ranked number 13 against a really tough guy who's making his UFC debut, Bekzat Almakan, who's 17-1, 9 wins in a row. Out of his 17 victories, he's got 13 KOs and 2 submissions. Bekzat last one just in November. Just 2 seconds left in that fight, was able to get the KO victory. And Umar's last fight, he knocked out Raoni Barcelos, who was on this card this Saturday. Beat him in the first round back in January, and he's 4-0 in the UFC. So, wow, hell of a battle. 16-0 against 17-1. Super tough guys, both of them.
Oh yeah, great fight, great matchmaking. I'm kind of leaning towards Young Eagle on this one because he's Young Eagle.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, the Dagestani guys is hard to go against them. The other guys from Kazakhstan, I've seen them fight a bit, but obviously more familiar with the Nurmagomedovs. We got a Canadian on the card, Ayman Zahabi, fighting against Javid Basharat. Zahabi, Faras's brother. Love him and always cheering for him. He's 10-2 coming in against Basharat, 14-0. Unfortunately, Zayman is a big underdog in this fight. We'll see what he can do and if they can come up with a winning game plan and good performance.
Yeah, this is not gonna it's gonna be a very, very hard fight. Basharat is a very, very good fighter, and he's gonna have to have like a flawless performance to beat that guy.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, early card again should be fun and looking forward to it. And we're only a couple weeks away from UFC 299. Sean O'Malley, Cheeto Vera, Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint Denis. We got Kevin Holland against Michael Venom Page. Gilbert Burns against Jack Della Maddalena. Peter Yan, Song Yadong, Curtis Blades, Jalton Almeida. Man, on and on and on and on and on. Gamrot against Dos Anjos. That card looks incredible. Even early prelims, Michelle Pereira against Michael Olachechek, Josh Parisian, CJ Vergara. Holy cow, stacked card in UFC 299.
No, man, it's a great pay-per-view to prepare us for 300. That is a very, very strong card. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
You unfortunately didn't get a chance to see the PFL versus Bellator card from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, early Saturday. I believe it started at 9 a.m. and was on really early. This was a hell of a performance. I absolutely love this card. This card is actually better than the UFC card the same day. They had tons and tons and tons of stars there. Just the broadcast team alone has Dan Hardy, Randy Couture, Big John McCarthy, Chael Sonnen, Josh the Punk Thompson, and just loved it. Ringside, cage side, Francis Ngannou, Mike Tyson, John Jones, just massive, incredible fighters all around it. There was 4 belts on the line. Very historic card in the MMA world, with PFL purchasing Bellator, putting the champ against champ, top fighters against top fighters from each. And man, I love this card. It was fast moving, tons of great fights. One of the best cards I've seen in a long, long time.
That is amazing. That's incredible. I was actually texted through a friend of mine that he was watching it, and he said the exact same thing. He said this card has actually been very, very, very good.
In the main card, Bellator and PFL, every single fight was Bellator against PFL. Bellator was 5-1 in that. So I guess PFL's happy that they're all under that PFL banner now, and Bellator has gone by the wayside. I was pretty shocked that PFL kept losing, Bellator kept winning. The only fight that went Bellator's way was the only fight that went the PFL way, sorry, was the main event, which was Henan Ferreira against Ryan Darth Bader. This was over in 21 seconds? 20 seconds. Absolutely massive right hand landed, ground and pound. Bit early stoppage, unfortunately. I think a couple shots maybe to the back of the head right before the judge jumped in there, Kerry Hatley. But incredible right hand that just dropped Bader super fast, beginning of the end, and it was over. And guess what he gets for the victory? He gets to face the baddest man on the planet, Francis Ngannou. So quite the great prize that you get for winning this fight. Ngannou was cage side. He called them out, and this is the return to the cage for Francis. I hope they can schedule this fight within the next few months. 20 seconds, didn't even take a shot, so he should be able to go pretty soon, and hopefully Ngannou's ready.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely want to see that fight. I want to see that fight as quickly as possible. Did you see the interaction? I just saw it on Instagram. Did you see the interaction between Ngannou and John Jones?
Yeah.
It was kind of funny because he did take a little shot at him and said, "Hey, man, I think you need to get back to training," because John Jones looked a little rotund, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, I don't think John trains very hard. He never really has, right? I think the fight that he had against Ciro Gane was the first fight that he ever really trained for, wasn't it? Doesn't they actually end up saying that was kind of the very first fight that he actually took seriously and trained for?
Yeah, I think he did say that, which is just the most ridiculous thing ever. It's like, wow, you're that supremely talented that you just don't train hard or seriously, which is funny. But also too, I don't know, man. Like I looked at him physically, right? If you look at those two men side by side, you're just like, well, that dude looked like he could crush you, like crush you, like
big time.
Don't have a shot, pal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, it's too bad. It's too bad that it can't work. We see this cross promotion for the first time, really, in MMA. We see it all the time in boxing, these cross promotions. Somebody asked Dana White, could you ever see John Jones fighting Francis Ngannou, just, PFL versus UFC, and he just tore the guy a strip and flipped out on him, called him an idiot, and just typical Dana when he doesn't like something. But it's too bad that MMA doesn't have that ability to have these types of fights where you're like, could this champion beat that champion? We'd really like to see.
Yeah, it would be awesome if that could happen. But since we're talking about the UFC will never, ever do that with another company. No. It will never do it. So it's it sucks. It's just something that we can live in our dream space, but that's about the only place it's going to be. Yeah. The other thing is, I wonder Was the UFC happy that John Jones was there or not? I
Yeah,
thought about that.
yeah, I thought about that too. I felt like it was kind of something that Dana White probably wasn't happy with.
Happy about that's
Probably the UFC brass wasn't impressed and wasn't happy with. He took the microphone and made a
yeah,
bunch of comments, and I think pretty much they wouldn't have been happy with much of what he said or him
yeah.
even being there. So was it a slap in the face? Was it? I don't know. I don't know. It was strange that he was there, and it was strange that he took the microphone and talked about things. And yeah, I found it weird.
I did too, because also too is he trying to set up something?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, is
yeah,
that's
maybe.
the other thing that I thought. Like, is he
Yeah,
trying to set up something? But how could you set up something when you're already under contract with the UFC for 6 fights? Six
yeah,
fights that he probably won't fight out his contract. He
no,
probably won't. So that means that they'll never get rid of your contract since you didn't fight it out. So you're not. He won't be eligible to fight for another
stuck. Yeah,
like
pretty stuck.
organization. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? I don't know. You never know. John Jones, marches to his own drummer. That's for sure.
Yes, he does.
We have to have Francis Ngannou against Anthony Joshua, which happens March 8th, and can't wait for that. I was starting to wonder if, with the money that Francis was getting from boxing, Fury and Joshua, would he go back to MMA? But he said he's held determined to fight in the PFL and fight this. This Ferreira guy is massive too. He's a big, big, big human. This is going to be a titanic battle if and when it happens.
Yeah, and I can't. I'm looking forward to it because those are two very large human beings that want to punch each other's lights out. I
Yeah,
can't wait to see it.
yeah.
Can't wait.
It was a mismatch to me. Bader, I think Bader's 40 years old now.
Yeah.
Ferreira had 11-inch reach advantage with his fist, 9-inch reach advantage with his legs, and it just took one power shot and Bader was done. Bader's had a very impressive career, but this was a mismatch, really.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely a mismatch, and Bader, like you just said, Bader's had a very impressive career, and for him to be so like to have all these wins, and he's 40. He's
Yeah,
40. Like that's impressive, man.
yeah. The other fight, co-main event, was also a title fight between Impa Katsagane, the PFL champion, against Johnny Eblen, the middleweight champion. Most people think that actually Johnny Eblen is the best middleweight on the planet. Nobody better, according to many fight experts out there. This was an impressive fight as well. In the second round, Impa dropped Ebland and had him in severe trouble. Ebland just kept trying to clinch and try to get some takedowns. Was able to finally get some takedown. Ended up spinning, getting top control. Was able to turn this around and won the fight with a split decision victory. And very impressive against Kasagane, who we know is super tough, amazingly powerful. Usually, when he lands shots like this, the guy doesn't get up. Eblen, as tough and incredible as he has been, was able to weather the storm and get the win, and yeah, keep Bellator undefeated up to that point. Really good night.
Yeah, yeah, man. There's a reason why he's one of the best, is
Yeah,
because he's also has extreme resilience, right?
yeah,
So like, and with him being able just to hang on and still find a way to win, impressive.
yeah. I do also want to mention the fight between the Hammer Thiago Santos, who had a 9-year UFC career, Yoel Romero, the Soldier of God, who also had a lengthy UFC career. Yoel, still 46 years old, said he wants to fight till 49 to beat out Randy Couture's record at 48 years old. He had a 7-year UFC career, and this was great to see these incredible warriors against each other, 40 against 46, both still in phenomenal shape. And it was awesome. It was great to see these two guys that are still at it. Both banged, heavily banged, and Romero ended up getting the victory. 30-27 on two cards, 29-28 on the other. And yeah, just still at it, 46. We were mentioned in Bader, 40 impressive. Yoel still at it at 46.
Yeah, still at it at 46, and just the most incredible body I've ever seen in my life. Still,
Yeah.
still, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like he's cut out of like marble. Like he's
Yeah.
amazing.
My dad was texting me that, like, check this guy out. Like, what the hell? He's
Yeah,
that good of shape still. Oh man, it was awesome. Yeah, just so many great fights. My dad made mention to it as well that they didn't have a lot of bullshit between the fights. It was just fight, walking out of the cage, they're already introducing the next guys coming in. It flew, it flowed perfect. So many great fights on that main card. I didn't love the prelims. For a lot of the prelims, I thought it was kind of strange. They were some people. There was one fight where the one fighter was 1-0 and the other one was 1-1. You know, for such a huge card, why are you putting people like that on there? I thought it was strange. Like it was a women's fight. Um, one came in 1-1 and the other came in 1-2. That doesn't seem like you for such a massive card that you're having all these eyeballs on. Why are you putting women that have that little experience together on the card?
yeah. No, that doesn't actually track or make sense unless were the women, were they Middle Eastern themselves? Were they like Saudi Arabian?
No.
Because other than that, I can't see why you would do.
One, Clarissa Shields. Okay, I think they really are trying to heavily
They're trying to push her. Yeah.
push her because she's a two-time Olympic boxing gold medalist, three-division boxing world champion. Great, you know that you're pushing her, but I just think just putting her on this card, just to me, just really wasn't it wasn't right. I just didn't think you know she was ready for it, and I think they could use other fight cards to showcase her a bit more.
Yeah, yeah, I would totally agree with you on that. And then also too, like since this is such a big deal, you got big deal fighters. Then, if it's a
Yeah.
big deal, right?
And also making his pro debut was Muhammad Ali's grandson, Biagio Ali Walsh. He was coming in. He was 6-1 on the amateur circuit, coming in on his pro debut. The guy he was fighting came in, making his PFL debut, and I guess he was a late replacement for some reason. Um, Both of them lacked experience. Both of them need a lot more work. Great to see Ali win his pro debut. Great to see Muhammad Ali's daughter in the crowd cheering on her son. Great to talk about Ali and all his greatness. I think the sky's the limit probably for this Ali, but pro debuts, for such a massive card, I just don't think this was the place for it to be on there on the prelims.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think the reason why he was even on the prelims, was even on the card, is because of his name.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally it. But I agree with you once again. They should have put him on a different card.
Yeah. Okay, we're ending there in our MMA. Actually did want to mention that the next PFL event goes April the 4th. That's the start of the 2024 regular season. That particular card will focus on heavyweights and women's flyweights. That takes place in San Antonio, Texas. The following weekend, they have Vegas, April the 12th. Light heavyweights and lightweights are on that card. And then the next week is in Chicago, welterweights and featherweights. And the regular season starts going. We're going to start seeing showcase, super fights, a lot of other things, but the regular season kicks off April the 4th. So can't wait for that. I actually really love that they have a regular season and playoffs and like that. How we got used to watching most of North American pro sports.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. It's different, and that this is their format that they're going with, and I like it.
Yeah. I just want to end with boxing. There was huge news this week as Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia were able to sign on the dotted line for a fight coming up April 20th. Golden Boy and Devin Haney management were able to secure a deal to fight in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Haney comes in 31-0 against Garcia 24-1. I'm blown away that they made this work. They had to they had to kind of come together and figure it out, which a lot of promoters can't. But they pulled this deal together, and I think this should be a hell of a fight.
Oh, it's going to be a great fight, and I'm more and more appreciative of the guys that say, you know what, we're going to make it happen because then we'll just talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll talk. If our promoters can't figure it out, forget it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I love that because you should never be afraid to fight the best of the best.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be afraid if you're at that level, because if you want to know if you're the best, you got to fight the best.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Canelo Alvarez has left PBC so that he could make this fight happen. He is going to fight Jaime Munguia, who is the WBC super welterweight champion. Munguia is 43-0 with 34 knockouts coming in. Canelo is 60 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws, 39 KOs. Canelo has guaranteed himself 35 million for this fight. PBC was not willing to guarantee that money, so he cut ties with them, and they were able to get back to the Matchroom umbrella, which is Eddie Hearn, and make this fight happen. And yeah, it's 35 million, pretty good money, and against a super tough guy that's 43-0 with 34 KOs. Very impressive record.
I love the fact that Canelo is now a big enough name that he can basically tell those guys, PBC, oh, you don't want to give me that money? That's cool. I'm going to leave that.
See ya.
You're going to give me that money? Great. I'll take your
Yeah, it's great.
That's fantastic. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Personally, that's the way I've always thought, that the boxers should be able to control their own destiny, be in control of their own career, and not be dictated by the promotions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that's the boxing has been harmed for way too many years, where they weren't able to present these fights that everyone wanted to see, but the promoters just had beefs with each other. They couldn't agree on money and couldn't make it happen. And we're starting to see a total shift in boxing. The boxers are taking control of their careers, making it happen. Devin Haney had to do that to make this happen. Canelo had to do that to make this happen. We saw Francis Ngannou, have to take some very, very harsh steps and change his career. And it's great. It's good. Boxing needed this big shot in the arm, and we're getting to see phenomenal fights that we look forward to. And over the next coming months, I can't believe how many great boxing fights are on the schedule.
Exactly, man. And that's what boxing fans want to see. We want to see the best fights that you could possibly put together, and not hear about the beefs and between the promoters and stuff, because we don't care. Yeah. What we do care about is seeing the best of the best fight each other. That's what we care about.
Yeah. So, what's your work schedule like this week? Are you on one show, 2 shows, kind of in flux in between? How's it working?
Well, I'm kind of in flux, because I might be working for the next couple of days on possibly the recruit, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. It's so either, how about this? Either I'm working in the next couple of days, or else I'm not. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yes,
Clear as mud.
yes, exactly. Clear as mud. Clear as mud.
Well, I hope it gets worked out. I hope you enjoy, if you are, or if you're not. I'm loving all the amazing Instagrams you're sending me. Holy cow. I actually should have made a list of all the amazing ones that you have been sending me across. I was shocked at just a ton that you've put across to me. Did I? Oh, I did send you the one the fight of the year. Did you see that one today? The Rangers and the Flyers guy. I mentioned him.
Oh,
Do
yes,
you remember seeing
yes,
that?
yes.
Yeah, he's got twice as many penalty minutes as he has time on the ice so far in his career.
Yes.
And he scored the game winner the other night. And so it was so awesome. The Rangers reporter Emily Kaplan had him on the bench after the game, and she's like, "You seem like you're having a blast. You're fighting every chance you get, and you're scoring the game winner. Like, who has a better life than you right now?" And he's like, "God, telling me, look at me. This is amazing. This,
That's
this
awesome.
kid's this kid's 6'7", 241, and he can skate, he can score and fight. He's bringing everything to the Rangers, and it's pretty incredible. The Rangers just lost yesterday, but they were on a 10-game winning streak going into that game. So they're on
Wow.
fire right now, and he's joining one of the top teams in the league, and it's been fun. This kid looks like he's having a ball. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, no, it looks like he's having a great time, a grand old time for sure. And he's on a winning team, so who wouldn't be having fun?
Um, what are the ones that you're sending me? I
Yeah,
love I love the one about Michael Jordan,
yeah.
where David Robinson said, "I don't know how the hell this guy, he's superhuman. How we couldn't keep up with him. He partied, gambled, golfed, did everything, still able to come out and score 35 a night. Impressive. That was
Yeah,
amazing. So many of the ones you sent me. I love the Jeremy Roenick about Brett Hall.
yeah, that was awesome.
That
That
was
was
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just keep blasting them. This girl here, she had 75 points, 19 rebounds, and 15 steals. 15 steals is kind of one of the numbers that blows my mind.
Mm.
Where does she play? Do you know any details about where she plays? Who is she?
I think she was a high school student. All right,
Okay.
but how about this? If that's your stat line, I know that she's going to a major college in
Yeah.
her future. Like that, if
Well,
that's her stat line, she's going to a major college in the future, and she's probably going to be in the WNBA. I'm just going to call it right now. I'm
call
gonna
it,
call it.
yeah. Sign her up. Be her agent, Jason. Be her agent to make some money off this.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Like, look at that stat line. 75 points, 19 rebounds, and 15 steals herself. Like, oh my God. Yeah, she's a shoe-in for
Yeah,
the
she's a shoot.
WNBA.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the other one is the fight. You had the fight there, the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
brawl, and you can see the guy. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh yeah, no, I
He's the
just saw
one
it
guy that
myself.
just gets
Yeah,
KO'd there.
it got KO'd. Oh yeah.
Oh,
But
here
I
it comes, I guess, again.
Yeah, but I love it because as you're seeing the chaos in the melee, right? There are no security
No,
anywhere close. You can't even see them. They're
they're,
not there.
they're just like, why would I get involved in that? I'm out of here. I know you paid me for security, but forget this.
Exactly. Right?
I'm not going in. Yeah, that brawl was crazy. That was crazy. And you're right. It was amazing that that reporter even bothered asking that because what
Stupid
control did
question.
Dana White and the UFC have of that?
Yeah.
It should have been up to the security of the arena to stop that from happening.
No, it was a silly question because it's like you're talking about fights that happen at a fight in the crowd. Yeah, buddy, that happens all the time, like all the time. Like, what are you getting at? Like, it's like, what is this? This looks bad on the UFC. What in the fight game? People are fighting in the stands in the fight game. Yeah, I guess we look horrible right now. Horrible.
Yeah. Imagine if that guy didn't get KO'd, how much longer that could have lasted. Because there was a lot of people involved in that one. Like I've seen skirmishes here, skirmishes there, but it looked like there was like 100 people all fighting together. That was pretty crazy.
Well, and I think that's why the security was just like, I don't want no part of that. Like, you know what? They'll eventually get tired,
I'm out.
and then we'll come in
Yeah.
after they're done.
Yeah. All right, man. As usual, awesome. That was a great conversation. I had a blast. Thanks so much. Hope you have a great week at whatever you do. Keep in touch, and we'll do this again 1 week from tonight.
You betcha, man. You take it easy. Have a great night.
Okay, thanks so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, bye for now. Okay, we made it. Another episode. Thanks so much for sticking through, sticking in. That was a fantastic conversation, and we covered a ton. That was great. It just flowed. It flowed into one, into another. And yeah, I loved it. Hope you did too. I want to thank you and thank our partners and sponsors. I want to thank Anchor.fm, easiest place to make a podcast. Just go there and do what Jason and I just did. It's fun. You should. I want to thank Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, an industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a must-have for anyone in your family or friends that play hockey. I want to mention Pampas and Possibilities. They've got beautiful West Coast, pretty decor items that they can put in your home and spruce it up, make it look awesome. I recommend them fully. We utilize them here. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. You can go on our website and get some of those products at discounted rates. So do so right away. Love you guys lots. Have yourself a fantastic week ahead, and we will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.